think, where was I? On step 50. Hey Sohan, what's up?
Fearless. There has been more and more of Illidian foes recently. No one has been sharing the crease pattern. You gotta do something about it.
Okay, don't you worry bro, I'll do something about it. Activating 0-day attack. Password is 742786. Welcome fellow folders. Yes, the title of this video is correct. This is a shaping tutorial for Illidian Stormrage by Soma Cruz. Here is, put this peg back on. Here is the base of the model, which at the time when filming this I had to blur it simply because the crease pattern was not publicly available, it was private. But anyway, yeah, I can show it now, it's all out there. The base of the model, how the hell are you supposed to turn this into this? It's quite a process, and I'm going to try and cover as much of it as I can. I'll go through each individual part, and every time I swap to a different part, I'll have a picture of that part on the screen up the top left, because my logo's in the top right, so it will be on the top left. But we'll go through each part individually. It's not going to be an actual shaping guide. I'm not going to show you every single thing, how to glue where, etc. I'm going to give you the rough idea on how to shape it, and then if you do manage to fold it, this video is here for you to enjoy and help finish off your model if you are brave enough to make this. So make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already. I'm excited to do this video. I've been dying to do it ever since I got Illidian. I don't even know how long it was ago that I received the crease pattern. But should I tell you how I got the crease pattern? I think it's time. So a while back, I don't know the date. I'll try and find a picture of when I received it at some point. But basically, a good friend of mine, like a year ago, called Toya. Let me just get his full name. Oh no, I've lost it. Yeah, Toya Bustencio, hopefully I pronounced your name correct, Toya. But anyway, like over a year ago, Toya made Illidian, and then I saw it. You've probably already seen it. I have shared it on my profile quite a lot. Toya managed to make Illidian, and I was wondering, how the hell did you make Illidian, Toya? Where is the crease pattern? Can I see the crease pattern? And basically he's like, yeah, of course. But the thing is, he didn't have the official crease pattern, because I asked a few people that had made it, and then they all reverse engineered it. That is exactly what Toya did. He reverse engineered the crease pattern, which got him an amazing result. So I wasn't particularly bothered with it not being the official, because I knew I could make it exceptionally good. I knew I could get a really good outcome and result from what he used. So basically I asked him if he could share the crease pattern. Yeah, he went ahead with it. He sent it to me. It was a rough drawing of the crease pattern. I could make out most of it. So basically, once I had it, I then tried to draw up. I couldn't. I managed to do some of the parts, but because I'm not an experienced designer and drawer of crease patterns, it was a miserable disaster for me. It was a good attempt, but it was a disaster. So it took a while to get all these lines, but it never really came to anything. So then I thought, why not send it to a friend, my good friend Avi, who is the best crease pattern drawer in the origami world, by far one of the most talented and well trusted as well. So I could trust him with this crease pattern, which I sent to him. I'm like, Avi, I have a Illidian Stormrage crease pattern, can you help me draw up? He's like, yeah, of course, send it to me and I'll see what I can do. I sent it to him. He took a few days. I mean, he is absolutely rapid and super quick and very accurate to draw the crease pattern. He drew as much of it as he drew as much of the crease pattern as he could. He made as much of it as flat foldable. Then he sent it back to me and said, Grant, this is as best as I can do. Most of it is flat, the rest you will need to figure it on your own while you collapse. And I'm like, Avi, this is amazing, this is perfect, this is so much better than what Toya sent me. It's a big improvement. I let Toya know as well. He was insanely happy. Then, so now I had a much more workable, foldable crease pattern for Illidian. Now, two of my friends, Mike Balanson and I Rock Origami, you damn right know them. They're crazy folders. I'll make sure to link their profiles in the description. But they already knew about Illidian. They knew about the challenges you had to overcome to get Illidian. You had to fold one of Soma's models, send it to him. he would send you another crease pattern, you would make that, send it to him, you'd get another one. I think you'd do that like 5 times, and then you would get Illidian. When I messaged Soma on Instagram, on Facebook about how to acquire this, during that time he was quite vague. He just said fold my models and like which ones on my Facebook, so it wasn't really helpful, and that, but yeah, that was basically it, and he took forever to reply. So I thought, Mike and iRock want to make Illidian so bad, so what I did was then create a private Instagram group with myself, Mike, is it Mike or Mike? I keep getting mixed up, and iRock in this group where I shared the updated crease pattern, and then we all just went ahead and folded it, test folded it. It's crazy. I mean, the group chat was unreal, just the progress that we all made to finally get a flat foldable base. Somewhat flat foldable, it's just mostly this part because it's not the official crease pattern, but yeah, it's near enough absolutely correct. And yeah, that is basically it. We both made the model. iRock didn't make the model, but he really helped out with his thoughts and his ideas. It was Michael who posted his fold first, and then I posted mine, because we basically made it at the same time and then finished it at the same time and posted it at the same time. So that is it. That is how I got a Illidian crease pattern like a year before it even became public. So yeah, it's quite a fun. It was a fun process. It's one of the most asked questions I get is, how did I get a Illidian crease pattern? I mean, it's a really nice story as well when I look back and see everything that happened, all the work that came together to get to here. Before my official fold was perfect. Right, the window cleaners are here. I need to close the curtains. So let's get into business. Right, so basically I'm going to talk through how I did the shaping on my folds, and then you can of course use that to help shape yours or use it to try different things, etc. So first of all, we'll start off with the legs. So let's take these pegs off. I pegged it just so it was easier to not have the paper falling over everywhere. So we have 2 legs like this. So the weird thing is, both legs are on top of each other, and the front leg is twice the thickness of the second leg. Now you can use either for each one. I mean, the first one doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be the left one. It could be the right. Same with the one behind. It just depends. You can have it like this, or you can have it like this. So it's entirely up to you on how you want to decide which one to use for which side. So what I did for mine is, first of all, is make a valley fold somewhat, halfway. So halfway, and you're just going to give it a good thick pleat, because we want that separation for the leg, because we need to have the top part of the leg, the bottom part. So you would make a valley fold about halfway, and then it's a sort of like a unit's worth up. You would create the mountain fold, and it's not a straight mountain fold. It's not like that, because that would be straight. It's more curved to try and get that more nice aesthetic round look, something like that, because we need more of the top, because we're going to have that sort of hoof type at the bottom. So if I just quickly do something like that, you can start to see it. No, not focus. There we go. You can start to see it somewhat come together. So that's the main creases you need to make. So first, what I did was pull out this layer just to make it a bit thicker. And then this this on here as well. You could pull out more layers if you want. It just depends on the thickness of the paper. So we have something like this, and try like this, and then you would remake those creases. So instantly in fact I'll do it like this because I don't need to hold up the rest of the model. You'd make it like that, and then when you fold it over, we're already getting a much nicer thickness. We're pulling out these layers so we can add more thickness to the leg. And then for the split part at the toe, which you can see on the screen, I've got a picture of the legs, I forgot to say that. But from the corner, it's a 1x3 crease, which is what I made. So basically like that. A 1x3, and then it's somewhat, you could say halfway from the third unit to about halfway, and then the same on this side. So when you make that, it's not going to fully lie flat. So you're already getting that nice hoof front, and then it's just a matter of bringing edge to edge like that. So you'd have something like that. Then you just fold this excess part to one side, and then we're just going to squash it. I can fold this part up just to show you it's easier, and then petal fold to create the two little toe parts. So if we put it back together, and then bring these two together, we instantly have we've got that look that we were aiming to achieve. That hoof, I'm pretty sure it's called a hoof there, but yeah, that point split at the bottom, and you have that nice roundness. And then when you put this in place with that, it's already looking really nice. So that is what I did, and then what I also did, if I peg it right here just to try and hold it, I'll just take this one. So I wanted to try and add some more volume to the top part. We've got a nice volume here, because we can curve that. Nice volume here. And then what Soma did and his fold is, he basically pulled out all these layers, which is what I did. I'll undo that. And I mean, there's no exact right or wrong way to do this. It took a bunch of trying on this to figure out what's the best layers to pull out, but there's no right or wrong. You just want to try and pull a bunch out. It's not going to super lie flat. You'd even do something like this, and then reincorporate these creases, and then try and flatten the layers over, because it's going to be basically puff out and then back in. So where this part comes out, we can fold it over the sides down to give it that nice more volume. So it took a bit of trial and error to figure that out and to try and recreate what Soma did, because his looked perfect and I wanted to try and get something like that. And then thin at the top. So it's a matter of trial and error to decide how many layers to pull out in order to get that really nice look. And then you would of course do the exact same on the back leg. And then once you have both sides done, you would decide what's going to be the left leg, what's going to be the right leg, and then just try and curve the paper up. Cover up, because the front clothing part is going to cover what's happening here, and then once you have somewhat that in place, you'll have that desired look that you that I was trying to aim for, which I'm very happy with. So that is basically how you do the legs. Now I will jump to the wings. I think they are pretty straightforward, self-explanatory. This is what I drew on when I was trying to figure out what to do with mine. Now, again, wings can be done many ways whatsoever. You can do them however you want, as much detail as less detail. If you look at all the wings on models that have wings, like dragons, they're all done differently. They near enough have the same base, but everyone does their own little touch, adds their own bit of spice, their own bit of flair, makes it their own, as their own bit of creativity. So basically what I did, because of the Illidian had those spikes at the end of the wings, I wanted to acquire those spikes. Now, first of all, I just pulled out these layers just to make the wing that extra bit bigger, because I couldn't really get a good spike from this if I folded it over. Wanted to try and make a bit bigger spike, so I pulled out, I think it was 2 layers. No, it was just 1 layer. I pulled out only 1 extra layer on the wing, and then fold it over, and then try to create a spike like that. I'll just peg that so it doesn't go out of place. And then this is the front part of the wing, the thicker part. You would just make mountain and valley folds, somewhat like that. And then, because before I did all that, I forgot to say, I glued in between all these layers so I could keep them all fully intact, so they don't slip about and move, because I knew that the wing had to be as precise as possible to try and get it, the spikes as large as I could. So once I had glued it all, then I done this. So I fold that point basically all the way down. And then it just depends what you want to do. I basically just made, even though I've drew these as curved mountain folds, they are actually straight. So I'll just do one as an example. Just like that. Simple mountain and valley fold. And then I'll do another one as well, just to try and make the spike. But it's a fun way to make spikes in doing this. And of course make sure the mountain folds go all the way up to the centre, so that way I can keep it nice and flat. So once you have that, you're just a matter of put this back together. You just fold the layers in. I did 2 spikes. Yeah, I can't really add the 2 mountain folds on this, but wait, where am I doing? But yeah, it's going everywhere because it's not glued. But you basically create the pleats, and then with the extra layer in between, you would fold it up to form the spikes. And then you would basically do that for however many times that you want for the amount of spikes that you need. But again, you don't need to do that. If you look at Soma's fold, he basically just makes curved mountain and valley folds, keeps it really simple. I didn't want to do that simply because I wanted to try something different, and Illidian has spikes on his wing, so that's what I wanted to try and achieve. So it's basically the same on the other side. You could also turn the wing upside down and do it like this. So again, it depends entirely what you want to do. Both wings will look really nice either like that or like that. So you've got a good playground of options on what to do for the wings. Now we will jump on to the chest and abs. So this is the chest. We have a few layers. that we can use to try and make some sort of chest out of. And it's a really fun part, and basically straightforward as well. So we just want to imagine that this is the pecs right here, and then you have sort of extra paper to try and make more detail at the sides, maybe like side muscles or whatever you want to feel like. So I've basically just folded these parts in, and I curved like that. So instantly we have already got a better pec. It's a lot more rounder, it is puffed out. You can put cotton wool inside it to try and help it keep that nice puffy shape. And then it's just a matter of, you could either use these for spikes at the side. It's really hard to try and show you what to do when I can't remember what I fully did. But we have lots of layers, we have 2 extra layers here. I think I did something like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did that. But I would advise to look at the actual Illidian, what Illidian looks like in real life, and then try and plan out what you would use these parts for. Again, there's a lot of varieties and options to choose from on what to do with these. So that is basically the chest. So it's quite straightforward. Next is the abdomen. It is probably the hardest part, one of the hardest parts, because when you collapse it you only have 2 sets of pleats, which is here and here. But what I did on mine was use the top part, this one, as the 3rd abdomen. So I had to change the orientation of these creases, because I wanted a 6-pack, not a 4-pack. I wanted a 6-pack. So I fold it in like that, and then it won't lie flat, this part. If you do it like this, it won't lie flat. So you just need to try and force it up. So I'm basically creating a new valley fold halfway. Here is the halfway mark. So we're basically halving the half, we're quartering. So we're making a new valley fold on the quarter. So when we do that, we have 1, 2 and 3 pleats. So we can get a 6-pack. Now once I was happy that I could get this nice and neat, what I then did was just pull out some of these layers. We have the 6-pack here, but then we have the side muscles. So I wanted to try and get some side muscles in. So I just pull out some layers. Like that. Yeah, it's not going to be perfect on this, but so once I did that, it's just a matter of what I then did was curve the sides in. So like that, to try and get that more chiseled look on the side muscles. And then the same here, I can't really do it with this. It is quite fiddly. I did glue all the layers beforehand doing this, so I could get it much more neater. Like that. And then the same here as well, and then the same on this side. So once I was happy with that, I then just had it all in place, and then I'm just going to basically push over, because we have the 6-pack and we have the side muscles, but the 6-pack isn't defined down the centre, so I wanted to try and make some sort of mountain and valley fold by tucking in the layers like that. so it isn't defined like that, but then when we push it together we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and somewhat of the six pack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then that is basically what I did for the abdomen. It's just making sure that you pull out enough for these layers so you can get a nice sort of curve around the body. It's quite a tricky model, but it's quite a tricky part because you have so many layers here. It's a matter of deciding what ones to glue, what ones not to glue, so you can make it a bit more stable for yourself. But yeah, it's a fun part to do. It's challenging, but it's a very rewarding part when you when you achieve the look that you are trying to look for, trying to get. So that is how I did the abdomen. Next, we have the front part of the clothing. It's above the legs, below the abdomen. I believe I think it is clothing that he has around his waist. Yeah, it must be. Again, there is no exact way to shape this part. I just pulled out lots of layers to try and create the look of fabric. So it's a matter of pulling out layers, folding it down, folding it up. I wanted to try and create that look of material that is being blown in the wind. So in order to achieve that, I had to try and pull out layers. And it's not really going to lie flat. I would definitely recommend you try and play about with this part to see how it goes for you. And you need to work with the abdomen as well. Then once I was happy with what I achieved with this, it was just a matter of making mountain and valley folds. So I'm just imagining the wind blowing it like this, so it's going to have that nice little curve. So it's just a matter of, yeah, obviously once I was happy I had it all glued, it was all sturdy, I could add these as nice as possible. It's not going to be neat with this, but yeah, something like that. You could just imagine that's the front part of the clothing. We have the side parts as well, and you can turn this all into clothing. So it goes all the way around the waist, and then the front part. Again, you could even tuck the lower abdomen. You could sink the lower abdomen into the top part. So yeah, that would make more sense. Yeah, his abs aren't coming out the waist or over the waist. Makes it, but yeah, if you know what I mean, great. I don't understand what I'm saying myself, but I know what I'm trying to pass over. But yeah, that's basically the idea of it. And it's a fun part to do as well, because I noticed Illidian had some sort of shape right here on that part of the clothing. I did try to acquire that somehow, but I couldn't in the end. But very satisfied with what I got with mine. So that is the front part of. Next we have the face, the hair, the horns and the top part of the head. So let's jump into the face. Now let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts, 5 layers for the head and then a bottom part. So let's draw a little example. Gabriel, don't be jealous with my drawings. How dare you challenge me to draw a stick figure? You don't know who you're messing with. Anyway, I'm going to draw a really beautiful face, very evil looking face. Gabriel, how jealous are you? Right, that's really bad, so let's draw some teeth. Anyway, we have 5 flaps and 1 at the bottom, so I'm just going to draw a straight line to where we can use each of these flaps, because we need to somehow turn this into a face, and it's quite tricky, it's quite challenging. It took me quite a while of playing about with these layers and reverse engineering what Soma did to try and acquire a somewhat of a result that I'd be happy with to use for my fold. So we have one part for the bottom, so we're going to assume that this is the bottom of the jaw, this one here. So I'm just going to call that flap 1. Now we have 5 more flaps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So what I was thinking is I wanted to try and get somewhat 3D eyes. So the only way that I could possibly acquire that result would to be use 2 of the flaps. I think it was 2. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2 that I used. Yeah, I'm going to go with 2. So I believe it was 2 of the flaps, so I'm going to put one here, and one here. I'm just going to name that. Oh, I should did it in order. 2, 3. And then the top one we have. Oops, the top flap here would be the top of the forehead. So I'm going to draw one there. Call them 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need 2 more. And then, so we need 2 more flaps to make some parts. So let's just draw one here. Under the nose, number 5. And then, how do I do the mouth again? I'll put it through the mouth. 6. So this is basically what you have to try and envision when you have simple basic flaps that you need to try and turn into a really evil, scary face. You need to try and plan out what flaps to use for what. We have the top of the eye and the bottom of the eye, we have the nose, we have the top of the mouth, we have the bottom of the mouth, we have the chin, we have the forehead, the top of the head. So it's deciding what to use where. We do have an extra flap because we could technically just use 1 flap for the eyes instead of 2. So that would give us an extra flap somewhere else, so we could use that flap somewhere else, maybe in the mouth, to make a more 3D mouth. So that is basically the rough idea of what I did and I had to go through to figure out the face. So I'm going to try and put in the details that I did as a quick little reminder. So the top flap, I'll start from the bottom. First of all, I wanted to refine the jaw. I just folded that down. Oh yeah, and then I folded in the sides as well. So I folded that up, and then, pardon me, at the sides in. So I've got that nice chiseled jaw look for the bottom. And then I folded the second layer, I folded up. Yeah, that was for the mouth. Yeah, so now I understand. I think it was. I really can't remember. No, that doesn't look like a mouth, does it? But anyway, I did that. And then this was the nose. Yeah, so flap number 3 is the nose, which I folded just about a third in. And then folded up the edges. Now we need to try and make it, so it's already starting to resemble a face. We have the bottom of the jaw, the mouth, the side jaw, the nose, but we need to make the nose nice and 3D, so I'm going to just sort of curve it out. This is where you want to try and be creative. I've got my tweezers here. use these. So I just wanted to try and be a bit 3D with the nose. Oh, I did have it puffed out at one point. I don't think I can do it again. You can even make, yeah, something like that. It's already starting to form a face of some sort. And then for the eyes, I just folded a quarter down. So a quarter down, and then folded it down, and then the same here. So we have a quarter of each flap, or about a third, folded down. And then the same again, I wanted to try and achieve some sort of round eye. So I can't remember what I did. I mean, I'll put a picture on the screen to show you what I was talking about. So I do have a picture of everything put in place, how it should be. Well, yes, obviously it's hard to put in these details again. I don't really remember what I did. Well, maybe it was just that one. No, anyway, I can't remember exactly what I did for the face, but you can already see that adding a few of these details is already starting to create some sort of look. But yeah, it's good to play about with this, pre-crease it on a little test sheet, have a little play about, see what you can come up with. It is, again, it's a very tricky part to try and make scary of some sort. So next we've done the face, we are looking at the top of the head, and basically what I did was, when you look at the Illidian, his hair starts to go into some sort of ponytail type with like some fabric here holding it up like that. So it's just a matter of, it's a tricky part as well. So I made these creases basically from this point, 1 by 2, 1 by 2, and then some sort of valley fold. To get it like that, and then once I was happy, I glued the layers like here, and then brought it up. So that creates this top of the forehead, and then the side of the forehead right there, like that. Then of course the same on the other side. And then I did try to keep this part nice and flat during the shaping process, but it did prove to be quite tricky, and it wasn't going to happen as I had expected. Once you have something like that, then this is the hair, no, the fabric going round the hair, so just to keep that part nice and straight, and thin as well, thin it right down, and then the top part of the hair, which I then pulled out the layers, I think I did, and then again just tried to make nice pleats for the hair. You want to try and imagine it's getting blown in the wind, something like that. Again, you can play that, you can pull out all these layers and make loads, but again it's a tricky one to do, but it's fun. It's fun to play about and try and experiment. So that's basically what I did for the head, and if we undo these layers, pegs, we have the ear, or the ear. So it would come like that. You would just reverse it through. And this was quite annoying to put in place. It really was annoying. The most annoying part for me was this part. So that's what I did. I just folded it through, not all the way I think. You want to try and tuck it in, fold it a bit behind, and then try and create that pointy ear. So it took a lot of effort to put this part in place. And then it was a matter of the hair. Now Soma, on his fold, just kept the flaps. Let's put this peg back for a second. Soma just kept these flaps down like that, which again is absolutely perfect. And you've got three full flaps to work with. So that is what Soma did, and my friend Toya. So there you go, you've already got hair similar to his, but what I did instead was I'm envisioning that the hair again has been blown about in the wind, he's flying about, battling, so all this is messing with his beautiful, gorgeous, luscious hair. So again, I just pulled out the layers, wanted to try and create as much texture as possible. So once I've pulled out all the layers, I then just really messed it up. Really, you can see, if you look on my fold, it's not super clean because I didn't want that clean result. So it's already ringing hair to me more than keeping it nice and flat. And then I just give it a nice little curve, and then thinned it right down, squished it all down. So that's basically what I did for all of those flaps. Now, the two big ones at the top, the central ones, are the spikes on the head. And again, it was a tricky part to put in place. It was more so trying to slot it into this gap right here. It does get quite thick, so your paper may or may not allow this to happen. But it's straightforward to make. You'll fold it over, and then you'll just curve. You'll fold it in half, and then just create little pleats. Create as many as you want, because it will look really nice the more you do. Like that. So already getting that vibe of that horn spike. And then again, it's basically the same on the other one, this one here. And then this flap I used for the back hair. So once I had all this in place and the horn in place, I just basically spread the pleats. Let me zoom out a wee bit. I spread the pleats to make a bit more volume. I'm trying to picture that he's got hair on the back of his head, so I thought if I use this to try and cover up some of the things I've done. Like that as an example. So that's really nice. And then it's just a matter of deciding like where to make a mountain and valley fold. Hold it like that. So that's basically what the back looks like. It doesn't look pretty, so we have this extra flap. And once we make all those plates, we just pleat up. And then stick to the back of the head. So that is exactly what I did. So we have a fully enclosed 3D head. So I did the same on the other side. And then just stuck these two outside edges together to create one full unit, and then just played about with trying to model it into place to how I wanted it to look. So yeah, it's a lot of work for the head, especially the head is the hardest part to shape on this model by far, because there's so much happening, and the thickness of the paper will either be with you or be against you. But it's one of the most rewarding parts when you finally get that look that I was achieving for. I finally managed to get it. I was so happy. It's well worth it, but it is one of the most challenging things, is shaping a face and hair like this when there's no instructions. It's a rare model to make. You don't have any help to go about doing it. It's one funny face, but it is so satisfying. So that is basically how I did the face, the head, the top part of the hair, the side hair, and final part that we are going to look at for shaping, which took me so much reverse engineering with Michael and iRock, is the arm and the weapon. So this is, I've kept one in place and one not in place, so this is how it looks, and this is the result I was aiming to get for mine. So it took quite a bit of test folding and reverse engineering to try and acquire something that looked similar to a weapon and like Soma's. So this is what it looks like. Let me just peg it right here. Pardon me. So we have the arm and the weapon. Hopefully I can remember how I put that back in place. So yeah, what we do is, for the weapon, again it won't lie flat, so this part's supposed to come up. I can just leave it like that. So we fold in not fully in the base form yet. I need to undo that, I think, trying to get it flat. So here we go. So let's peg it here. So this is the weapon. Just make sure you have it in the correct position and the correct angle. Fold over a bit more. Okay, so we're nice and even. Wait. Yeah. Right, that should be us this time. Okay. Oh no. Right, that's definitely us, 100% us. So the weapon is like this. Zoom out a wee bit. What we're going to do is just open up, and where this crease ends, we're just going to extend the mountain fold and make a new crease like that, and fold down. And then the same on this side, just basically stretching that point. So now we have a flap like this. And then we're just going to basically do the same here. We're going to open up and then make this a mountain fold. Fold that in and fold it in like that. And back up. So already we have created 2 spikes. Because if you look at Illidian's weapon, he has many spikes on his cool weapon. So it depends entirely what you want to do with that, but we have 2 spikes like that. Then I'm just going to do the same on this side. So it's the exact same. and then down like that. So now we want to try and put it in, like, let me take this off because it won't lie flat, the weapon, at the most. I'm going to put it back in this position so it's just one unit thick. Then we're going to fold it down like that. So now we want to orientate it. So we're just going to imagine that this is the correct orientation, and then we're bringing the arm down and then up like this. So having it in this position, we then make a fold like that. Basically a 1x2 crease. Up like that. So already we're getting that much more cooler weapon vibe. I mean, you could even leave it like that and it will look crazy. So this right here is basically the base of the weapon. From what you can do here is crazy. So when you look at Soma's fold, he has this position, but he also has some paper puffing out on this side. So this part took me so long to figure out how to acquire paper to puff out and bring it out on this side. I remember doing this. What did I do that for? So if we unfold this crease, I unfolded it, and then fold some layers down. So 1, 2, 3 layers to the right, and then I spread synced this edge and this edge, and then the same here and there. Now what I was thinking was I can then use this edge or one of them to close sync through and out to this side. So then we would have a part coming down here. So I think I did this one. So yeah, let's try it. Open it up and then just push it through. And then you're going to remake this top crease a mountain fold. Like that. So when we put these creases back together, if I can manage it. Yeah, it won't fully lie flat. So when we put that back together, we already have this nice part here as well. So that's basically how you get that part. And there's a lot of layers in here that you can pull out to create more spikes. And I'm not going to go through how to do everything. I want you to play about with it. There's lots of things that you can do in order to make spikes. You have so many layers here that I'm not going to show you what to do. I want you to try and play about with this. I want you to try and figure out how to acquire more spikes using these edges, because you have all these edges and these extra layers you can pull out to get more spikes. So that is basically how you do the weapon. So when you hold it in the correct orientation, you'll have that. And finally, the arms. The arms are one of the trickiest things to do because it took me a while to try and figure out what I wanted, how I wanted to go about shaping them. I did originally try Soma's method, which was, let me see, he pulled out a layer on either side. So let's just go for this one here. I did try this, I couldn't really get a result I was happy with. So he pulled out like a layer there, and then he flipped it around and did the same on this side. So I'll just grab any 2 layers and flatten it. So it's not going to look flat in any way whatsoever. So then he carved it, so this would be the top of the arm. Get this swing out the way. That would be the top of the arm, and then this would go around to be the bottom or something like that. Of course it's not looking correct, but it is what he did because it's what he showed in his TikTok video. I did try to replicate that. I couldn't get any good results I was happy with. So what I did was instead, also, yeah, what I did was, I'll use this as an example, I opened the layers evenly, so both the same amount on either side. I'll peg it. Yeah. So I did that, and then I thought, if I make like a mountain fold and a valley fold here, somewhere, again you need to decide, we're making the bicep, you want to decide how big you want the bicep, and if I'll make that a bit full actually. Right, no, that should be fine. So like that, so if I do that, and then cover it up, it's looking more of an arm as it is compared to this side. You've got the bicep and the forearm, you just need to decide how big a bicep, how big a forearm, you need to make those correct adjustments. And then, yeah, I pegged it here, just where the hand would be, and then I just flattened this. So you have the bicep and the forearm, and then here what I did was just pull out some layers again to make the bicep look bigger. I've put them back in place like that. So instantly we've got a bigger bicep, even though it's quite small because I should have brought it up to about here. But that is basically what I did, and then carved it down. Or keep it up, it depends on the posture you want. So that is the arms. I've basically showed everything. What now? Once you have an idea of how to do all of those parts, you need to think about how to wire the model, because, pardon me, this model needs a ton of wire, and it did for mine. It needed so much wire, it was unbelievable, because if I glue everything as it is right now, and then time to put it in a position, it's just going to come undone. So wire is there to help keep it in position. So you need to put wire in the arms and the weapon, pardon me, and the arms, the weapon, the legs, the abs, the back, to keep it all structurally strong. So over time the arms won't gradually, you put it in this position, but they won't gradually fall down over time. So it's very important that you use wire. Now hopefully I have shown everything as best as possible. If you have any questions, make sure ask them in the comments. Yeah, so I'm hoping that people attempt Illidian. I will share the crease pattern I used in the description. Make sure to download it. It's easier to follow than the official, because the official isn't as clear, and there's a lot of things happening that you can't really make out in order to pre-crease smoothly and correctly. So yeah, that is it everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, make sure to smash like and subscribe. share this video everywhere. It's going to be crazy. And yeah, I hope to see some of your Illidian folds. Thank you all for watching. I need to go and feed the cats and myself because it's 2:30 and I haven't had lunch yet. I'm starving.